WB4NKL.
WB4ARK. K4GDN.
W4MEC.
K4VWD.
November 4 Alpha Kilo N4 AK.
Well, that was slick. Nice job, everybody. Here's what we got. WA4LLR is first, and then we have KN4R, NC4ON, and WB4NKL, WB4ARK, K3OS. A little weak on the audio. I just barely could hear your audio there, Gary. K4GDN, W4MEC, and K4VWD, and N4AK. Are there any more check-ins? I didn't hear anything, so everybody's sounding great here today in Shelby. And like I said, I'm on the old AF-68 and played around with the LASCO 600 some yesterday and determined I didn't like the power output. Those things only put out about 3 watts on AM and drove the amplifier to a carrier power of a whopping 60 watts. So with this thing, I can run full bore, and I think it's better that way for the situation. D104 mic, horizontal loop antenna, and that's the rundown here. It's going to be 80 degrees and sunny today. Got my shorts on, short sleeve shirt, all ready for a nice warm summer day. So over to you, Dave. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
Fine business, Steve. N4LQ and the group. WA4LLR. Copying everybody just fine. I wondered how an hour later would do, but seems to be holding up all right. We got 62 degrees up here. I'm amazed. 62 degrees, mostly sunny and breezy, going up to a high of 73, they say. Running the Johnson Viking Valiant and receiving on the S76. So that's the conditions here. We got 60. Brian, on down to you. I think you're running a TS440, KN4R, WA4LLR.
Okay, Dave, very good. WA4LLR in the group, KN4R. Yep, testing an old TS440 here. I've got it throttled back, but I do have the amplifier in line. I bought a new microphone off eBay for it, and it says it's the Kenwood MC43S hand mic, but I'm not so sure. I always breathe heavy and speak loud into microphones anyway, so Steve told me I need to tone it down. Unfortunately, I can't do that from the inside of the mic because it's all glued together. So I just stuck a round Band-Aid over the speaking hole on the mic, and then took a magic marker and painted it black. So it's not too ugly. So hopefully it sounds okay. So NC4ON in the group, KN4R.
Yeah, good morning everybody, and thank you, Brian. KN4R in the group, NC4ON. On my Kenwood this morning, everybody sounds good, and thank you, Steve, for doing the net this morning. I don't know if I ever really joined the net where you were the moderator, but happy to be here this morning. It's a nice day here in Denver, and a little chilly, but I think it's going to warm up a little bit. All right, so I'm on my infrared antenna here and doing about 300 watts, I think. And Brian, your radio sounds just fine here, coming in really good. Over to Cliff there, WB4NKL and the group NC4ON.
NC4ON, it's WB4NKL. Good copy here, Stefan.
and copying everybody so good so far. Like Dave said, it's a little hour later than normal, but maybe conditions will hold up. I'm running the Heathkit DX100B here today, about 100 watts carrier, and 75S3 Collins receiver. Got 59 degrees and supposed to get up to 73, and then I think tomorrow's going to be the warm day here. It's supposed to be up to 78 tomorrow, according to the forecasters. So send it on around. Go ahead, buddy. WB4ARK. It's WB4NKL.
WB4NKL, WB4ARK. Okay, Cliff. Very good signals in here today. And we're on the ART13 R390 and receiving on a horizontal dipole. So 57 degrees here, a little bit cooler than some of you, and we're trying to finish up some work on a Collins 32S3 transmitter that belongs to Butch, and I had it just about finished, and I was finishing up some of the alignments, and it just quit, totally quit. So I'm trying to figure out why it's not transmitting. Won't tune, won't key lock, it's just dead. Getting drive sometimes to the finals, sometimes not. So we've got a little bit of a problem. So with that, over to K3OS, WB4ARK.
WB4ARK, K3OS. Okay, buddy. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. Well, and hopefully everybody can hear me now. It's amazing what'll happen if you get the antenna tuned, you know, guys? Oh, jeez. I was down a few hundred kilohertz, a couple hundred kilohertz. And I was wondering why everybody was low on the receiver. Well, that'll do it too, and of course the transmitter was really badly mismatched here as well. Actually, it looks like I could dip it just a little bit more here as well. Running the Gonset twins this morning. I'd hoped to have another radio on the air, but that didn't, one that I haven't had on. So I finally got it working on the bench. I'll just save that surprise for when I can get it working. It was one I had working. I was getting it ready to connect up to the amp, and like Buddy, it stopped working. Jeez, don't you love it? Beautiful day here in Hickory, as all over, I think, the region. Over to George. Hope you can hear me. I think I can hear you too. K4GDN, K3OS.
Okay, K3OS in the group. This is K4GDN. Copying everybody pretty well. Cliff and Gary, you were a little weak some QSB, but I got at least 85 or 90%. We're on the Viking 2 this morning, running about 100 watts, receiving on the HRO50. And got the HRO50 crystal calibrator put in. I got a used one from Fair Radio a week or two ago, and lo and behold, it worked pretty good. And I'm working on the B&W 5100B now, and it's cleaned up very well. Didn't almost need any 409 at all to clean up the main chassis. The plating is good. No rust on the chassis, just a little faint hint of it on the laminates of the transformers, but I'm not going to even do anything about that. I'm in the process of replacing the electrolytics. I don't plan to use the sideband generator right off the bat, but there are some things in the sideband generator that are not in the schematic that have been added. They've been added some circuits to the audio as well as the RF section, and I can't find anything on the internet about modifications to the sideband generator. And these are really pretty well made modifications. They could be basically unplugged and taken out and don't have any effect. And apparently they were working fine with Grady when he had the rig, when he was using it 20-some years ago. So if anybody knows anything about any modifications to that BMW sideband generator, I can't find anything on the internet about it in terms of modifications. There's a lot of information about doing things to the 5100B, but not much for that. So anybody, if anybody knows of anything there, I sure would appreciate giving me a heads up on that. So with that, Charlie, it's coming to you. Oh, it's in the mid-50s here in Myrtle Beach. Supposed to get up into the upper 70s today before it cools down and rains a little this weekend. So Charlie, come to you. W4MEC in the group, K4GDN.
Okay, George. K4GDN and the L friends, W4MEC. Real good. Well, I heard about most of that, George. But I got a question for the other fellows that might have had a stronger carrier from him. Did he have a kind of a whooshy sound to the carrier? I turned off frequency and listened, and I just got static. But when I went back to him, it was kind of, all I can describe it as a whooshy sound as he spoke. So I don't know if anybody else heard that, or it's just because he's not very strong here. Anyway, but good morning, everybody, and everybody's booming in here. Sent out the picture of finished my cleaning my pond out, and yesterday I got 100% done cleaning up the banks and cutting the grass and the weeds and all that, and raking all the much of the leaves and other crap and that was settled down in the bottom of it so that it wouldn't. Of course, it's got a gazillion years of leaves and pine needle in the bottom of it, but here's one less year's worth. So I got it filling up, and have to check it occasionally because this time of year there's a lot of leaves come down the stream. It's amazing how many leaves float down the stream, and they'll get in, wrap around my pickup and down in the water, and won't pull up hardly any water. So I look down there and see how much is flowing, and it'll take probably a week to get it back up to snuff. So if everything else is run smoothly. I looked at the rain chance, and all we got, as I said on Friday, we have a chance of drizzle. So drizzle is not going to help. So they're fighting a big fire up here in Edneyville. I think it's up to 400 acres now. I think it was last night. They get a little wind up there, causes them trouble, and they've been using the helicopter, dumping water, and I can't remember how many crew they have up there. Fire departments from all over are trying to battle the blaze, and a couple of people have lost their homes. So and they don't know how it started. It started, I forget, a couple of days ago with like 10 acres, and now it's up to 400, I think. So they're not getting ahead of it. Last thing I heard was 5% contained, so it's a mess up that way. And we sure could use some water to help put it out, but drizzle ain't going to get it. So, all right, so 50 degrees here, clear. Another nice day with no rain, but a nice day nonetheless. Over to Lee. You're sounding good this morning, Lee. K4VWD in the group, W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie, thank you. W4MEC, K4VWD. Well, I'm running about 220 and 25 watts, and the power is dropping, I don't know, 30, 40 watts as I talk. So I thought I had everything tuned up properly. Apparently I've got a hum problem, and this amplifier is, as Charlie says, this amplifier is amplifying, and Steve is amplifying the hum. I think next time around I'm going to turn the amplifier off, change the slugs in the watt meter, and just use the radio and see if it really makes a good bit of difference. Well, it's 61 degrees here in Greenville, and the sun is shining. And I need a courier to get something from my house to Steve in Shelby and to pick up something and bring it back. So if anybody's got any ideas, I would appreciate it. So over to you, Glenn, N4AK, K4VWD.
Okay, Leah. K4VWD and the Old Friends Group, November 4 Alpha Kilo. Well, I didn't notice a lot of hum, but maybe my hearing aids have a little thing that says noise reduction. So anyway, but I didn't notice any hum on your signal this morning. It certainly is not very bad at all, if there's any there. And I'm running my TS2000 this morning in an amplifier. I probably got about 300 watts on a G5 RV. Temperature over here at Sunset's 59 degrees, and Charlie, I'm like you, my weatherman says maybe 30% chance of a little bit of rain on Friday, and that's it. And buddy, sorry about your challenge on your Collins rig, but that's good for your brain. Keep an old man's brain going to have these challenges, but it sounds like there are a few gremlins around this morning. And on George's signal, there was something there about the middle of the transmission at the beginning, Charlie, but I wasn't sure whether it was him or somebody's carrier off the side interfering with us. So I'm not clear on that, but I did notice that. And I wonder, Charlie, on you, what is it, about a half-acre pond, and I wonder how deep it is by chance. And Steve, you've got a wonderful signal boiling in here this morning as usual. So and thank you for doing the net for us. And for LQ and for AK.
Thank you, Glenn. N4AK in the group. The Old Friends Net. It's N4LQ. Do we have any further check-ins? Call now.
KZ4 Bravo. KZ4 Bravo. Over.
Okay, got KZ4B. Anybody else? All right, well, you're sounding good, John. Go ahead and make a transmission. KZ4B, N4LQ, then turn it back to me.
Okay, N4LQ in the group, KZ4B. Fine business, Steve. You're booming in as usual. We did make it to the Lawrenceville Ham Fest, and the only major item we picked up, we broke down and bought a 259 D as in dog, or David, antenna analyzer so we could cover broadcast and below. It goes down to 100 kcs. Not to use it to analyze antennas, but to use it to find out where we are on the HRO5s that we have. And everything else was trinket class. I have a big question for Steve or maybe Brian on the Antenna Associates 80 through 10 half-wave long wire. I got the balun mounted and the ground and the coax hooked up, and the antenna is coiled up and held in coil with tie wraps, and I don't want to undo it if I don't have to, because I'm not ready to get on the roof to finish out running the antenna. But for planning purposes, I need to know how far from the balun that little coil is, and also there's a inline capacitor. If any of you guys know the distance from the balun to the coil and the capacitor, I would very much appreciate it so that I can finish planning out how to install it as an inverted L. Conditions seem to be remarkably good today. considering we're an hour later. Knock on wood. I hope it holds, because normally it doesn't help any. And that's it from here for now. So back to you, Steve, in 4LQ in the group KZ 4 Bravo. Over.
Okay, John. KZ4B. It's N4LQ. I can get my frequency just right here. Okay. First of all, to answer your question, the coil is 2 meters from the transformer. 2 meters, whichever, that's about, what, 6 feet, a little more than 6 feet. And the capacitor is at the halfway point. So if you just fold the antenna in half, you should be pretty close. It's not that critical, but that's where it ought to be. So just go out there and find somebody to help you, I guess, and easier than trying to measure it twice. So that's the story on that, and I hope you get that thing up pretty soon. But you're still real strong here, no problem at all copying anybody. George, your audio is very, very loud on the Viking. It's peaking around the voice frequencies. Maybe the gain's a little high, I don't know, but you were one of the louder signals, and then you took a little bit of a QSB there toward the end, but I copied everything just fine. I don't know what some others were hearing as far as what was that, whooshing noise? I like that. Anyway, Stefan sounding good. Cliff DX100 sounds good as usual, and ART13 at Buddy's house sounding great. Good luck on working on that 32S. I never did like working on those newer Collins. They're tough. They weren't that bad, but the KWM1 was the worst. Oh man, that thing was impossible to fix. Gary, you're sounding good on your Gonset now that you got your audio gain turned up. And Brian, that's the TS440 sounds terrible. I hate to say that, but it's that mic is I don't know. It's snorting and chuffing and kerchuffing and everything else, and it sounds like you're in a box. And anything I can think of bad to say about that, I'm saying it. But that Yaesu that you had sounded good. I'd use that. That Kenwood. I don't know if it's all the mic or what, but it doesn't sound too good. Anyway, let's see. Did we have anything else? And George, on your 5100B, sounds like you're making good progress on that thing, and anxious to hear what that sounds like here on the net. And the fires up in Hendersonville. Yeah, I saw the map. There's a map you can go to see all the smoke and fires. Trying to think, it's a government map. What was that? I'll try to think of it and post it on the Old Friends Net. But it's a fire and smoke map put out by the government. It's a .gov site. Somebody may want to look that up, and it shows all the little fires all across the country, and there's a bunch of them. But 400 acres, that's not good, and that's pretty scary. They can't get that contained, and I'm always thinking about that here where I am. I've got a lot of pine needles, and so does everybody else around this neighborhood. And fire would spread pretty fast if some idiot decides to throw out a cigarette butt or something like that. It'd probably start one. And okay, John, on your MFJ analyzer, I guess you're using that for a signal generator of some sorts. And somebody else was talking about using their grid dip meter as a signal generator. So that's all good news. anyhow, that's it from here. I'll turn it over to Mr. Dave, and want to see what else he's got to say about the space weather and the history of the world. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
N4LQ and the group. WA4LLR. All right, good round. Good round. My goodness. Steve, tell us what you really think about Brian's audio. Oh, me. Oh. Well, Brian, to me it was a little muffled. I mean, there's not any highs in it, but I think you said you put a Band-Aid over the mic hole or something. That might be knocking your highs out. Maybe I misunderstood that. But it was intelligible, so I'm not gonna go into detail about all the qualities of it. Steve is adept at that. Anyhow, let's see here. The forecast, our rain forecast for Friday says 61%. Steady light rain in the morning, showers in the afternoon, and the showers early in the evening. So, boy, I hope and pray that they're right on that. That we actually are going to get some real rain. And Charlie, sorry about that Edneyville fire, and pray it doesn't spread anymore. We sure don't need them. A lot of leaves down, very dry, and wow, what a condition. Cliff, you and I were talking about some of those crystal holders that had the capability of varying the frequency a bit. And I dug the one I was talking about out, and it's made by RCA. And it says V as in Victor cut crystal unit. V cut crystal unit. And the 3 screws that hold the holder together are drilled and have a little cable that runs through them with a lead seal on it. And it has in the center, it has set screws where you can vary things a little. And this says the frequency is 2736 kilohertz. So, and the holder's made out of ceramic. It's heavy, man. Those metal plates. Interesting. Anyway, let's see. Space weather. Sunspot count 67. Solar flux index 146, and the K is 2.33. And we still have a possibility of some geomagnetic unrest from incoming solar wind and so on and so forth. Items on this day in history, there's several. On this day in 1867, Madame Curie was born, and Brian's been dealing with the results of her find. On this day in 1918, Billy Graham was born. On this day in 2000, Hillary Clinton was elected to the U.S. Senate. On this day in 1996, NASA launched the Mars Global Surveyor. On this day in 1980, Steve McQueen, one of my favorite actors, passed away at age 50. On this day in 1962, Eleanor Roosevelt passed away. On this day in 1944, her husband was elected to an unprecedented 4th term as president. On this day in 1940, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge in Tacoma, Washington, broke up in a wind of about 42 miles an hour. I think we've all seen film of that. On this day in 1917, the October Revolution took place, which brought the Bolshevik Party to power in Russia, which started the Soviet regime. On this day, on this day in 1874, Harper's Weekly featured a Thomas Nast cartoon about the possibility of Ulysses S. Grant seeking a 3rd term, and the Republican vote was represented by an elephant, which afterwards became the party's national logo. And on this day in 1811, the Battle of Tippecanoe took place, where U.S. Expeditionary Force under William Henry Harrison defeated the Shawnee Indians. So that's this day in history. Down to you, Brian, KN4R, WA4LLR.
Yeah, okay, Dave. WA4LLR in the group, KN4R. All right, very good. Well, I'm copying everybody just fine here. And I'm sorry about the lousy audio, but you know, I hate it when you buy a mic and it turns out to be a piece of you know what. So, and of course, as it always is, it's the only mic I have. I'm sure the radio is doing just fine, and the meters all look okay. I'm keeping the ALC down, but anyway, Steve, I want to get both the radios working so I can use one in the car and one for portable use. So anyway, let's see. Let's go on over to Stefan, NC4ON in the group, KN4R.
Yeah, Roger, Brian, KN4R in the group, NC4ON. All right, very good, yeah. It's definitely still needing some attention there, Brian. It seems like you're talking too close to it. Maybe if you just take a little bit of a distance between the mic and your mouth, there might be a little improvement there. It seems like it's just getting a little bit too strong. All right, no problem. Well, good to hear you there, John. You're coming in real good and you're sounding great. So, and also Steve, I don't know what rig you're using there, but it sounds beautiful and you're booming in here. And thank you, Dave, for all the good info on the history. All right, well, over to Cliff now, WB4NKL in the group, NC4ON. Go ahead.
NC4ON, WB4NKL. Thanks, Stefan. Yeah, that's talking about the smoke. I think the mountains are on fire several different places. I know coming back from Lawrenceville, we've seen a lot of smoke around Waynesville. And then we went, me and the daughter went hiking yesterday up in Virginia, and there was smoky up that way. So I think they got some fires in Virginia somewhere. It's dry everywhere, it seems like. And yeah, Dave, on this crystal I've got, I looked it up here on the internet, and the only hit I came up with, this guy's got one on sale on QTH.com, 10-position deca crystal. He hooked his up, and he's getting, he says it's working on 8 different frequencies, and they're all on the 40-meter band. It goes from 7145 up to 7200. And he's got 2 positions that don't work, so I don't know if they're switching in. I don't know what they're doing there. That's a pretty good wide range. I'm gonna hook this one up and see what. Hopefully it's in the ham band. Check it out. But it's unusual looking. But if anybody wants to look at it, you can go to QTH.com, and it's listing number 1660547. So that's the second one I've seen. Guy's got one for sale. I'll say 73s. I've got a Virgil W4OLJ's on his way up, so I need to clean up the shop here a little bit before I have company. So enjoyed it. Thanks for calling it, Steve, and be listening. Maybe catch some people around later on today. Go ahead, buddy. WB4ARK, WB4NKL.
WB4NKL, WB4ARK. Okay, Cliff. I hope you have a good visit with your friend there, and I think you said it was Norval. If that's the case, ask him how his transmitter's doing. The 75 S2 or S1, I think. This one, I believe, was someone used an improper contact cleaner on the couple of the potentiometers, ALC for one, and I presume that's what they used on the balance potentiometer in the mixer section. And when I pulled the potentiometer off of the ALC, I opened it up, took the metal cover off. It was a very small pot, 1/4-inch bushing, and the resistive material that was fixed to the Bakelite material had come completely off, and links of it was lying in the metal part of the cover. Several links, anywhere from a 1/16 to a little bit longer than that, pieces. And I'm sure they used a potentiometer cleaner that did not meet with specs and loosened up the material. And they state on the can many times if it's safe for the potentiometers. Well, let's see what else we got. Well, that's probably what has happened to the mixer balancer pot, and so that's out now. That transmitter was working fairly well, but kind of intermittent in a way. It peaking up the emission output. It was a little bit sensitive, so I think that could have been some of the problems that was going on with it. We'll see when we replace them. We've got other issues with it also, so we'll get to those when they get the pots put in. I think we've got a beautiful day today. No clouds, looks like, in the sky so far. Going to be a clear day and going to warm up as it is tomorrow. So we're going to have some nice weather, although we do need that rain. I worry about my son's property. He has a lot of dead trees lying in the woods around his house, and a lot of underbrush that could catch fire. I've mentioned that, but it kind of goes over his head. So I hope we don't have any problems there, because he is surrounded by material on the forest floor. We do have a fair amount in our backyard also, brush that has been cut from bushes and so forth, and I've taken it to the back. But it has dried out and deteriorated and is going into the forest floor now, so hopefully that will not be a serious problem. Anything else that's cut is going to have to be carried off. Well, I'll say 73. I don't have anything else to add. Thanks very much for doing the net, Steve. Hope you have a great rest of the week, as everyone else. And we will look forward to Thursday. So over to K3OS, Gary. This is WB4ARK.
WB4ARK, K3OS. Okay, buddy. Yeah, signals are starting to, need to dip this just a smidge here. Give me a second. There it goes. Fade a little bit, but copying everybody okay. We have a Catawba County here has issued a state one, a first stage drought emergency. So we've got some water. They've got some water conservation measures in place at the moment. Lake is way down. I'm looking at it. Haven't heard from Brian, but I'll bet you Lake Norman is down a little bit, but we're down probably a good 5 feet from where it normally would be. So I'm going to bid everybody 73s on this round too. Good to hear everybody, and catch up with you later on the week. I listened for those who are. I was listening on 160. Didn't hear anybody last night. Got got an opportunity, so maybe tonight I'll be around. Anyway, George, over to you. Hope you're copying. If not, somebody relay it for me. K4GDN, K3OS.
K3OS in the group. This is K4GDN, and I turned the mic level down a little bit on it. I had turned it up, maybe 1 or 2 times back. I thought modulation looked a little low on the monitor, but it looks pretty good here now. And the pine needles in the fire, there was a subdivision in either Greenville or Spartanburg. This has been, 10 or 15 years ago, and the Homeowners Association required you to use pine needles instead of mulch. And somehow a fire got started, and it wiped out the majority of that neighborhood before they could ever get it out. So pine needles are definitely a no-no as far as I'm concerned. And it really does. I use mulch, and I use pretty large pieces of mulch when we do put it down. And still copying everybody pretty well. Even Cliff and Gary coming in fine, and Charlie too. At least 80% on everybody. And I hope this changes my volume level changes okay. And nobody mentioned anything about that BMW sideband generator. I can't, like I say, find anything on it. And the modifications that whoever made them, they look like they were well thought out. Basically, they just unplugged the tube and then plugged the modification in. I haven't gone inside to look to see if there was any real circuit changes in there, but it looks like it would be completely reversible. Just take it all out. And in each case, they added a tube. They unplugged one, and now the modification has 2 tubes. So, be interesting to see what that's got to say. If I can find out anything. But like I say, I have found absolutely nothing on the internet as far as modifications to that sideband generator. And hopefully within the next month or so, I'll have the thing on the air. Okay, let's see. Goes to Charlie now. W4MEC in the group, K4GDN.
Okay, George, K4GDN, the old friends W4MEC. Got about 50% of that, and I didn't hear the whooshing this time. It just sounded like dealing with atmospherics or storm, geomagnetic storm or something that was making it sound weird, but anyway. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I was going to comment on the contact cleaner on some of those pots. Yeah, the pots where they deposit the carbon film on a piece of phenolic. Those are the worst. You don't want to spray those things. I don't even think you want to spray them with anything because it'll wash the carbon completely off the phenolic. The wiper goes around and does nothing. So, but I was amazed when I was working on an guitar amplifier for Lee's son, and all the pots were bad in it, and they actually have pot kits. And I can't remember how many was in that thing, like 14 or 15 or something pots. And they had whole kits of those things that the exact potentiometer, the exact style. You didn't have to modify anything or drill a circuit board. They all take out the old ones and put in the new ones. And the kit was like, what, 30 or 40 bucks, somewhere in that range, 50 bucks. And anyway, and forget, if you ever work on somebody's guitar amp, forget about cleaning the pots. Just go online, and there are several sellers that you can buy all the pots in one lump and just change them all out. So, too bad they don't offer things like that for us. But we do have the guy up there, I forgot his name now, the pot guy. I can't remember I got him saved, but anyway, the fellow that's known for having all potentiometers, and he can make odd ones up out of central lab parts and all that stuff, but that fellow's still available. A bit pricey on some things though, but if you gotta have it, you gotta have it. So let's see, any other comments I might throw in there? And if I get about the courier there, now that I got my pond done here, I'm gonna rake a little leaves today, and I'm in my truck there and get it done and up and running again, and with a new carburetor, a new distributor, and I should be might be able to make that trip for you, Lee. Just give me a couple days to make sure everything's working, and truck will probably throw a rod now. I have a good ignition and good carburation, and piston come out the side of the block. So, I know folks that get well over 500,000 on this motor, this inline six from Ford, and I only got 405,000 on mine. So, I'm hoping it won't throw a rod or punch a piston out for another 75,000 or so miles. So we'll see. I was going to make a comment. George and I were talking on the phone one day, and he said, you know, we realize that several of us have old gear like this. You've got that 5100, I've got this Apache. With the sideband adapter, it might be fun to try one time after a net or someday, and anybody that has an old rig with a sideband adapter kind of come up on 3715 and see what they sound like. I've got mine running, and I have to hook it back up. I leave it unplugged because I found no reason to keep the filaments lit, and I'd have to plug it back in and get it going. But it might be something for us with sideband adapters to play with for at least one time. Over to you, Lee, K4 VWD in the group, W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie, W4MEC, K4 VWD. Well, according to my bird watt meter, I'm running about 30 watts. So I got the amplifier off. If anybody's got any comments, they'll be welcome. Charlie, I wonder, on the 73 round, if you mentioned whether you got any problems with smoke, whether that smoke has made it down to your house. It is so dry here that I don't have any birds. I saw a bird just a few minutes ago, a female cardinal on my feeder. It's the first bird I've seen here in 3 days. So the old saying, you can attract more birds with water than you can food, is definitely showing itself now. By the way, Dave, today in history, on October the 7th, is when the terrorists of Hamas attacked Israel. So that's today's date. Bunch of terrorists. Let's see. Cliff, you got a bunch of OSB on you, but 100% copy. And Charlie, you went way down. I could not copy George, so I couldn't. Charlie, I couldn't comment on audio or Brian's. I can hear Brian a little bit, but not much. And that time around, Gary was practically nothing. So I'm assuming that y'all probably are having problems with me also with the 30 watts. But anyway, here she goes, and I'm going to turn the amp back on for the 73 round. N4AK in the group, K4VWD.
Glenn, are you still with us? N4AK, you still there? No, apparently he's drifted away. What about John? KZ4B, go ahead.
N4LQ in the group, KZ4B here. Very fine there. Thanks for that information, Steve. I have got that as approximately, very approximately 7 feet from the ballon to the coil, and then from the ballon to the capacitor is very roughly 65 feet. Confirm if I've got that right. It doesn't have to be precise, but just have that in the ballpark. Shifting gears, Lake Norman is the lowest I have seen it in many moons. I repaired my, did a lot of work on the pilings on my pier. It's been somewhere between 5 and 10 years ago, and the lake was way down like this, and somebody told me that as bad as the drought is, that Duke was doing some work on Callens Ford Dam and was pulling it down even lower than the weather situation would dictate. But I've done some traveling, and Jordan Lake is super low, and Hartwell down in South Carolina, and it's just all the lakes are low. We're really in quite a drought situation. It's made it nice for doing projects, but it's hasn't helped the grass any. I hope there'll be some. Usually, November's a very rainy month, so hopefully things will turn around. And we've been blessed with some nice late warm weather. I hope we don't have a payback in January and February with ridiculously cold weather, but we'll see. Somebody said the almanac said it was going to be a rough winter, and usually rough winters start off nice like this, and then bingo. I'm going to say 73s. I'll stick around long enough to hear your feedback, Steve, and enjoyed it today. Hope everybody has a great week, and thanks for calling the net. N4LQ in the group, KZ4, be clear but listening.
Okay, that's N4LQ. Any really late check-ins that would like to call in? N4LQ is carefully listening. I didn't hear anything at all but just some nice soft band noise. Okay, let's see. First of all, Brian, I got a suggestion on that mic. While there's still some water in that lake, you may want to take it out to the deepest part in your boat and tie a rock to it and heave it overboard. Yeah, I'm just giving you a hard time, but it's it's just not going to get any better. I think I've got a mic around here somewhere that may work on a Kenwood. I'll look around and see. But a D104, that would be good for mobile use, wouldn't it? Nice chicken choker D104 mic. You could hold that thing up to your window and that'd get you some looks. Well, today is Taco Tuesday, and unfortunately, I am forced to take the XYL out to Taco Bell and eat that stuff. A couple of times ago, I went next door to McDonald's and got me a hamburger instead of that taco stuff. And McDonald's, the quarter pounder is just a notch better than the fake. I don't know what kind of meat they use on tacos, but it's not too good. And she always orders steak instead of beef. It's a little bit better than the fake beef they use. Let's see, a sideband QSO with Charlie. That's a great idea. I don't have one here. Back in 1981, I had a Valiant 2, and it had the sideband adapter, and I never did use it. I had a Drake 2B, but I did use the input as an amplifier for my Tentec 509 QRP rig. Made a nice amplifier and just fed it right in there to the RF input, and so that's one good use for it. But those things, the Valiant's got enough knobs on it as it is, but you put a sideband adapter on there, it looks like a lot of fun. But it'd be fun chasing each other around the frequency. But I'm just not too enthused about it, I guess. I don't really have anything here I could use for to generate an unstable sideband signal. Anyway, and John, you are correct on the length that you mentioned. go for it, man. Put that antenna up. Well, just about half of the group or more has already said 73s. I think Dave's still here. Brian may still be there. Stefan, maybe. Gary, I'm not sure about. George hanging in there. Charlie and Lee. But I think most of the rest is gone. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to 73s, and anybody that wants to can just do so. First, I'll turn it to Dave, and then he can try Brian and so forth. We'll just see what happens. But I was still able to copy everybody here. Go ahead, Dave. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WA4LLR. All right, real good. Yeah, conditions are deteriorating, for sure. 7-3 to everybody. Steve, thanks for calling it. Hope everybody has a great day. Lord willing, we'll look for you on Thursday. And enjoy the beautiful weather. Pray for rain. 7-3, God bless. We'll look for you a couple of days from now. KN4R, WA4LLR.
Okay, Dave, very good. WA4LLR in the group. KN4R, talking into the side of the microphone. And also on eBay, looking for a real used Kenwood MC42S microphone, mobile microphone. So if anybody happens to have 3 or 4 around, I'd love to arrange for one of them. So anyway, 73s, enjoyed it, and hope everybody has a wonderful day today. I'm heading to the beach tomorrow for a few days, so I'll be back I think maybe this weekend. So anyway, 73s, NC4ON to take it in the group, KN4R.
No, I guess Stefan's gone. What about Gary? OS, you here? No, I don't hear Gary. George, you still here?
I'm still here. Did the audio seem to get any better when I turned the volume down?
Yeah, it sounds okay. You're getting a little bit on the weak side, though.
I'll turn it back up a smidgen. Let's see. It looks like it. Yeah, I might be a little bit low still. Anyhow, thanks for calling Annette, and we'll see about this sideband generator mess. I don't know. I've got to find out something about this one, what's been done to it. So with that, I'm going to say 73. And Charlie, if you're still there, go ahead and take it. W4MEC, K4GDN. 73, guys.
Okay, George, real good. K4GDN in the group, W4MEC. Hey, Steve, let me ask you a really quick question. When Glenn was transmitting, was KZ4B doubling with him? Go ahead.
I don't know. I never did hear Glenn.
Well, he had nothing but squeals. I copied his audio. He had a lot of feedback. But then when he quit transmitting, John was right there. So I didn't know if it was heterodyne or if he had a problem with his rig.
It was John. He came on after Lee, but I forgive him and I sign out in 4AK, step 3.
Well, that answered that. You've got some kind of feedback issue there that's varying with your modulation, Glenn. It's almost like you got a receiver unmuted and it's feeding back through, but if you can't hear it, that's odd. I would suspect if the rig is hooked up to a computer or something, maybe you got one of those interface gadgets feeding back somehow, but I don't know. But it definitely got a feedback going on there. Let's see. Well, I haven't taken any other notes. I done forgot what I was going to say, but it doesn't matter. Let's see. Oh, I was going to comment on Lee's comment about birds. We've got 6 bird feeders here and 3 bird bass, I guess you call them. And 2 of them have got heaters under them. One heater is a 20-watt halogen bulb that on a little fixture I made to keep it from freezing. And the other one is an actual one I bought that they use in chicken coops and things like that to put the water on. So the water doesn't freeze in a chicken coop, and draws like 25 watts. It's no big thing. but I haven't modified my other bird bath yet, and it freezes solid in the winter and when it gets cold, and it's funny to watch the bird. They'll actually peck on the thing, and sometimes they can peck a little hole in there and they'll get water out of it. But yeah, the water is pretty critical, especially right now. So we've got quite the menagerie of birds and squirrels and all other kind of critters who are coming to look for something to drink, something to eat. And squirrels will drink out of that one bird bath we've got that's just sitting on a little pedestal out there, and they'll get up on the inside of it there and just have a field day. But the other problem is the raccoons get in that one too at night, and they muddy the water up. So we have to change it because they walk out in the morning and you got brown sludge instead of water. So, but anyway, so much for that, and we'll look for you fellas on Thursday morning. And you all have a good rest of the week here. K4VWD in the group, W4MEC 73.
Okay, Charlie. This is K4VWD. Well, I got the amp back on, and Steve, you made comment on the difference. Thank you for doing the net. I appreciate it. It's good to hear everybody today. I'm sorry I couldn't copy some, and Charlie, I hope you don't have any trouble with the smoke. So with that, I'll say 7-3, God bless, and turn it back to you, Steve. I could not copy Glenn at all. I heard him in there, but it was so screwed up I could not copy it. I'm sorry, Glenn. So, Steve, back to you. N4LQ in the group, K4VWD.
Okay, it's N4LQ. Any more comments before we close down for the day? Alrighty. Well, you're 10 dB stronger with the amplifier, obviously, and so is the hum. But like most people, like I said, they probably can't hear it unless you got a big speaker. It's probably not too noticeable, but it does need to be fixed, or sooner or later something's gonna blow, Captain. Alrighty, it's been fun. We'll see y'all later. 73s. And Thursday morning with Lee at 9 a.m. on the same frequency here, the Old Friends Net. Bye-bye. This is N4LQ closing the net.
Lee, K4VWD, you still there, W4MEC?
Yeah, I'm still here, Charlie.
Okay, just for testing purposes, would you take the Elmac and switch it to CW mode with the amp hooked up and just key it a second and let me listen to it?
Well, let me try that. I haven't turned this thing on CW in a long time, so I don't know how well this switch is going to work, but we'll give it a try, so stand by.
Okay, the hum did not change, so it's definitely in the power supply. So, and I don't know if you're, when we were talking yesterday, if you're still on this power supply number 2, but I did hear the hum in both of them. So maybe after all these years, the electrolytics are going or something. But anyway, a lot of times you can go to CW and it gets quiet and kind of just puts it in the modulator side, but in this case it's still there. So, but it's very, very low and not particularly distracting. So, but it is in there. So anyway, K4VWD, W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie, very good. Well, tell me, do you have any smoke at your house? Over.
I forgot to answer that. I'm sorry. No, we haven't had any smoke, but you can sometimes walk out there and it smells like pine burning. So, but it hasn't been smoking anything up. And we were looking at it day before yesterday, and and it's kind of funny. It kind of goes straight up in the sky as a column, and then just kind of shears off and heads off in whatever direction the wind is blowing. It kind of makes it like a L, letter L on its side is what it looks like. But it hasn't been coming this way, so that's good.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I used to have one of these high voltage capacitors for this power supply that I bought about 35 years ago. It's been in a box, and I'm not sure I can even find it, but I'm going to go out there and look for it. So anyway, thank you for your help, and thank you, Steve, for all your help also. So 7-3, God bless, guys, and I'll talk to you Thursday morning. This is K4VWD. So long.
See you later, W4MEC. Bye-bye.
N4LQ.
Go ahead, Stefan.
On a phone call, Steve, so I apologize, but I need to take this one too. I'll talk to you later, okay?
Okay, 73, N4LQ.